By launching military aggression against Ukraine, Russia violated fundamental norms and principles of international law, bilateral and multilateral agreements. By air, land, and sea, Russia has launched a devastating attack on Ukraine, a European democracy of 44 million people. Airports and military headquarters were hit first, near cities across Ukraine, including the main Boryspil International Airport in Kyiv. The tanks and troops rolled into Ukraine in the northeast, near Kharkiv, a city of 1.4 million people, in the east, near Luhansk, from neighboring Belarus in the north and Crimea in the south. Paratroops seized a key airbase just outside Kyiv, and Russian troops landed in Ukraine's big port cities of Odessa and Mariupol too. Why this war? And what is the purpose behind Russia attacking Ukraine? Weeks of intense diplomacy failed to deter Putin, who amassed over 150,000 troops on Ukraine's border in what the West said was the biggest military buildup in Europe since World War II. Russia launched its well-planned armed aggression against Ukraine on 20th February 2014 and seized the Ukrainian territory, Crimean Peninsula. As of today, Russia continues to illegally occupy Ukraine's autonomous Republic of Crimea, which is 26,081 square kilometers, the city of Sevastopol, which is 864 square kilometers, and certain areas of Donetsk and Luhansk region, which is 16,799 square kilometers. In total, 43,744 square kilometers, or 7.2% of the territory of Ukraine. Illegal occupation of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea and the city of Sevastopol was just the first Russian step aimed at undermining independence and sovereignty of Ukraine. The Kremlin has always been firmly convinced that Russia will never become a world leader without control over Ukraine. Meanwhile, a democratic and prosperous Ukraine is a threat to the current authoritarian rule in Russia. Ukraine has become the bone of contention between Washington and Moscow. Ukraine wants to join the Nato, but Russia does not agree to it. Because if Ukraine joins NATO, it is eligible to get support from group members in case of any external attacks. And this would help to get back Crimea. Another objective of Putin is to secure Ukraine's coastline with an assault on Odessa, leveraging Russia's large naval deployments. And to this end, Russia has shut down access to the Sea of Azov, the part of Black Sea between Crimea and eastern Ukraine. After the collapse of Soviet Union, Russia lost control of 14 former republics including Ukraine. Putin wants to restore Moscow's influence throughout the post-Soviet space, and hence he warned the West to stay out of Ukraine. A 409.7 km section of the Ukrainian-Russian state border in the east remains out of control by the government of Ukraine. Russia continues to supply weapons, ammunition, and fuel to occupied territory through the uncontrolled section of the Ukrainian-Russian state border, in order to strengthen the units of the regular troops deployed in Donbas, as well as the illegal armed formations it backs. Russia's aggressive policy targets not only Ukraine, but also violated territorial integrity of Moldova and Georgia, announced its territorial claims of Russian-speaking populated area in the Baltic states. Putin's aggression against Ukraine is in pursuit of the dreams of a Russian empire. Putin implicitly invokes a nuclear response if the US and its allies intervened. Whoever tries to impede us, let alone create threat for our country and its people, must know that the Russian response will be immediate and lead to the consequences you have never seen in history, Putin said in a television address, adding, all relevant decisions have been taken. I hope you hear me. The Chernobyl nuclear power plant has been captured by Russian forces, and it is impossible to say Chernobyl nuclear power plant is safe after a totally pointless attack by the Russians. This is one of the most serious threats in Europe today. Ukraine's ambassador to the UN, Sergei Kislitsa, directly requested his Russian counterpart, Vasily Nebenzia, to phone Putin and Lavrov, Russia's foreign minister, to stop the aggression on his country. There is no purgatory for war criminals. They go straight to hell, he told the Russian chair. Envoys from the US and the UK were later seen comforting an emotional Ukrainian envoy. Quantitatively and qualitatively, Russia has considerable supremacy here. Ukrainians are facing a grim situation. When can the war end? Putin demands guarantee from the West and the Ukraine that it will not join Nato and that Ukraine demilitarize and become a neutral state. What does our Mother Mary say in this regard? 73 years after 1914 apparition, the Mother of God once again appeared in Rushev, Ukraine. On April 26, 1987, exactly 1 year after the Chernobyl disaster, a bright light covered the Church of the Holy Trinity in Rushev, and the Virgin Mary appeared over the cupola. Soon hundreds, then thousands came from all over the USSR to view these apparitions, which continued every day until August 15th. It is estimated that over 500,000 witnessed these apparitions until they ended. The Soviet militia and KGB even could not control the crowds. Mother said, I have come on purpose to thank the Ukrainian people because you have suffered most for the Church of Christ in the last 70 years. I have come to comfort you and tell you that your suffering will soon come to an end. Ukraine will become an independent state. The Holy Mother warned of the dangers coming from Russia and asked people to pray for that country. Oppressions and war continue to occupy the minds and heart of many people. Russia, despite everything, continues to deny my son. Russia rejects real life and continues to live in darkness. If there is not a return to Christianity in Russia, there will be a third world war. The whole world will face the ruin. While Christianity has returned to Russia in theory, in practice the church is forced to accept the dictates of the brutal regime rather than teaching of Jesus Christ. It is also a country that continues to oppress its own people and invade its neighbors. A mercenary, a terrorist, or the one who does not respect others' rights. And independents only will join or support Russia in this regard. Many significant churches and chapels in Ukraine were dedicated to Mary, including Domitian Cathedral of Kievan Cave Monastery, the churches of the Tides, and churches in Volodymyr Volensky, Hayak, Home, Lviv, Chernihiv, and elsewhere. In the Ukrainian Catholic Church, Marian Society have been particularly active in preserving and furthering the cult of Mary. So venerate our Holy Mother and pray that Russia may yet become a civilized country that respects the independence and sovereignty of its neighbors and respect the Word of God.